if we want. Perfect day, you're out there, it's a tight game at the end. When it could have been.
I just want to let you know, I wish I was, I didn't have the
The recording is started.
So just
The
an
meeting
FYI.
is not
away.
officially beginning
Yeah,
yet.
I just didn't want you guys say anything.
Oh,
Okay. Slippery rock. Man,
hey Josh. Yes, sir.
that played very good game.
One of these two, you can have one of these. You just had. Yeah. Did you go?
I'll send.
No, I had a wedding.
It was really.
The banner.
Yeah, I downloaded it. Started. You just want to be quiet. I'm calling the October 8th council meeting to order. Can we please stand for a moment of reflection?
I would just also like to add, if we can all keep in our prayers down south and the entire world, of course. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Calling the roll.
Yeah, Broad,
Here.
Palazzo. Here. DeBowser,
Here.
Frick, Lancaster.
Here.
Gould, Carniso,
here.
Smith.
But Jonathan is in DC. Jessica has a
Casey's
fever.
gonna be late.
Yeah,
probably.
Casey usually a few minutes late with flag football coaching. So we are fine.
Okay.
I know, I already did that.
Okay.
And I got your text earlier.
Yeah. I was texting people last night when Jessica told me she was sick. And then Betsy said she would have been sick.
He wasn't feeling well.
I was checking. Okay, any additions or changes to the agenda? We did talk about trying to, move the waste management discussion up sooner, so he does not have to sit here for 2 hours. And so where would we want to put that, right?
We
At the
can do it
public
after
comment?
public comment.
Okay, we need an executive session according to Pat.
Yes.
Yeah, I put it at the end, because
Yeah.
we don't.
That's fine.
It's for
Okay, oh, you
legal.
removed it, got it,
Yeah.
okay.
It's illegal.
Okay, any other changes to the agenda? Okay, so after public comment, this is more for me, so I don't forget. So after public comment, we'll have the waste management, discussion. Okay, approval of the minutes, the September 3rd council minutes, do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, is there any discussion of these minutes? All in favor of approving the September 3rd council minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Well, I can't check mark it. Can't figure it out. Hang on, bear with me. This is new to me. Yeah, all right, yeah. Okay, it was separate from the council packet, but we had the summary of the financial report. Give me, I can find it. There it is. We have a motion to approve the August financial summary. Any motions? We have a second. Oh, I think Betsy had her hand up first, Peter. Betsy seconds. Do we have any discussion on the financial summary? There's no discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I agree. I would say good. Okay, now we're public comment. There wasn't anyone signed up, but I beat the ladies in. You guys did no comment tonight? Okay. Okay, moving on to committee reports. Oh, thank you. Sorry. I was just testing you all to make sure you were paying
We
attention.
left it up to Peter to lead us.
Peter's on it.
You want him to just come up to the table?
Yeah, please, by all means. And that way, because we did ask for you to be here so we could ask you questions, if there's questions to be asked. All right, Nicole, you want to spearhead the conversation?
Yeah, so our waste management contract is up at the end of the year. We had a couple choices to put it out for bid or just renew with Waste Management. We've been with Waste Management for years. Over the time, we've had different waste, we had bag system,
Yeah.
you know, now we have unlimited system. Well, finding out recently, no, I mean, in the last 2 months, if we stick with what we currently have, there's gonna be, we're looking at a possible double to triple cost of, you know, what current residents pay right now. They did present a proposal with the containers, the 96-gallon containers. Where, you know, you have the benefits of, it cleans up the town a little bit, everybody would have to use a container. There with Waste Management, we would work with Waste Management, they would do the marketing, the education to the public, along with our grant communication, right, or grant communication person when that person officially starts. So the education's gonna be there, and then, it's gonna, over some time, it's not gonna happen January 1st. What are we thinking, like 4 to 6 months process to give everybody adjusted to the new way of doing your garbage, you know? And again, there's some, in the proposal that you guys were all sent, the costs are there. Again, it's very similar to what they're paying right now. There's a couple of little added benefits. We would still get, right now, we have that one large item a week. That's still part of this, but it would be twice a month, right? Is that?
2 large items per month.
Two
Yep.
large items per month, so you can do one, you know, are we doing one?
We
picking
would
certain
agree
days?
upon with you all a specific week in that month, so then residents could get rid of 2 large bulk items per month. It would be on the specified week
Yeah,
when we send the truck around. Yep.
and that's normally, like, I think Waste Management did that, there wasn't, not everybody had a large bulk item every week, and you have to understand, it was, you know, obviously when move out. And again, that IUP move in, or IUP move in and move out, that's still part of the original contract, that's still in here.
Yep.
They'll still have, we'll still have those extra pickups with IUP students.
Remind me how someone would get on the list for a big item, or you just leave it out,
So the week that we agree upon,
right?
that will provide, you know, calendars with highlighting.
Sure.
for the
Hypothetically, the first week of the month is one of those weeks, you just leave it out?
Unless if you have more than 2, then you'd have to schedule them, but if you just have your 2 items, we're gonna have that truck going around to pick it up, and if it's out, then it's gonna get picked up.
So as long as they
without
have the
schedule.
correct week,
Yeah,
they just leave it at the curb and there's no.
Yep.
right.
Straightforward.
And I will point out too, since we had the last meeting with Waste Management, I've been going around, a lot of communities already do it near here, where you see the big bins. So it's not gonna be something totally unfamiliar to everybody.
Can I ask how you have people place those bins on narrow streets with cars parked on the curb?
That's a great question. Yeah, so there's, I mean, at the end of the day, every municipality, especially when we get to central Pennsylvania here, you're gonna have those roads, topography, you know, it's just not gonna work for certain trucks, but, you know, with our operations team having been here for a long time, we understand that some of those roads that you're talking about where, whether it be a car parked or just narrow from a truck standpoint, you know, smaller trucks going down there, and, you know, the carts out, my drivers are gonna service it, just like they do now. It'll just be, you know, still safer with rolling it, but there wouldn't be any concern for not getting picked up.
I was caught on School Street the other day behind a Hugo's truck, which was getting bins. I sat there for 5-10 minutes waiting for them to get their bins out, loaded into the truck, back, for 2 bins. We can't have that going on all over town,
I
so.
completely understand. Well, I can't speak for Hugo, but I can say that as wild as it might seem that having the carts, we found that it's actually more efficient than the rear loads that they have on the contracts that we've transitioned over. Efficiencies have improved operationally per
You guys-
WM.
I gotta say, I gotta give the waste management truck drivers a lot of credit. I didn't realize on small streets where maybe there's not a lot of room,
That's most of our streets.
but there's still lots of places they'll pull over, they let people by, right? I mean, as long as you're not proceeding like a jerk, you know, they peek out around the truck to see if somebody's coming. I mean, I don't know. I personally love my truck drivers. They're awesome.
I mean, those, yeah, those men and women are a real deal for, you know,
Yeah.
the job. And they go through extensive trainings and
Yeah,
checks and everything, so.
And so, but I mean, it's not unfair to say that, but there's gonna be a level of blockage, almost like a school bus. Like, there's gonna be a little bit of that you're just gonna have to deal with Hugels or with waste management, or with anybody, really.
But even it's one thing to do it at one spot, but if they're doing it. House after
That's
house
what
after-
happens with recycling as well. They stop and then they sort. and
Yeah.
you
They
Go
don't
around
block
them or you
traffic.
wait.
They don't block traffic.
The trucks are just as
The
big.
trucks are.
One day a week.
I've never seen it blocking traffic.
Well, okay, another question that, Jessica's not here with us, but she wanted me to ask, hang on, bear with me.
Yep.
Never mind, she did not have a question.
All right.
She'd be interested in seeing it sent on for bid, but she doesn't have a specific question. And she's not here if we vote on anything, so.
I would just like to confirm, if we have an issue like flooding at Marsh Run, one of the other creeks, there's riders to make exceptions. There's a lot of garbage generated due to something like that.
We can look through. I think if there's flooding and they can't get there, they're coming back the next, I think we've called waste management.
Because in the past, they would just say, we're gonna send a special truck
Yeah.
around and just pile your garbage out by the curb. Cause the one year I had, how about that high? From floods,
Yeah, if we're.
and it happens occasionally, but not
Yeah,
often.
it's like that, and if it does, I know.
Yeah.
At the very worst, it's, you know, we'd get all of it the next pickup, but I
Right.
know just our operations district manager and in my conversation.
Just as long as there's no penalties for
Correct,
emergencies
they'll send a
like
truck
that,
out the next day, as soon as possible, to get that all cleared up for you, so that's.
just to make sure that we have that in there.
That coverage.
Because it does happen, we have enough little creeks, if we get a heavy rain, we can have basements flood up and generates a lot of garbage.
Absolutely.
One other thing I would like to point out is I investigated, I have some of the cans you get from Lowe's. And those ones you standardly see at Lowe's were 64 gallons. So theirs is a
96.
good size, bigger than sort of the standard one you see at Lowe's. So I did check on that, cause I often overflow into my other 64 gallon one.
Yeah.
But we rarely fill both of them, so.
Mhm.
So I personally feel fairly confident that a 94 gallon one would hold
What
the
you,
majority of any garbage. My
Yeah.
family of 6 remains.
People make that much trash.
That's because you don't remember the wee ones.
I don't.
Not with Amazon, you don't.
We did not do paper diapers.
There you go. So yeah, so is there any other questions or concerns? Hang on, if you have a question, please share with the class. By all means, bring it, this is the moment.
Because I'm looking on my rectangle phone to read this earlier and I'm looking now. How much is it for the bins, the trash cans themselves? Who's paying for that?
Well, they're part of the
Waste
built into the
harbor.
cost.
part of the monthly, the only way that you would, you know, be paying W directly, is that you would, if your family would require an additional 96 gallon container. We would essentially bill you annually just like for the rental of it, but in regards to the standard services. That's part of the cost here, you're not paying.
So each resident is getting one.
Correct.
Yes.
One with their standard fee.
With their.
Now, Tammy, you're gonna love this. There's a 10-year warranty
I saw,
on the
I saw.
cans.
I'm all good. Are
So if
are
they
made
fall
in America?
apart,
Are
they're
they
Yeah, we
manufactured
actually
in America?
partner with, Cascade Engineering out of Michigan and, yeah.
Thanks.
Yep.
Betsy, did you have a question also?
No, I did not.
Okay.
It was,
Well, if,
sorry. I said, no, I don't know what they're doing.
well,
For the glass.
if there's no other, questions, are we in a position to make a vote? Is if
I'd
is
like
there
to make a
someone
motion to accept the contract.
So we have someone willing to make a motion. Do we have a second on the motion?
I would like to second that motion.
Tammy seconds the motion. We're spending money, so roll call.
Rod,
I want to say yes, but I have hesitations.
You're
So
gonna pick up trash?
it has to do with my whole feelings about how much trash we're creating here. A 96-gallon thing, if you could give me a rate where you only pick it up every other month, that would be quite adequate for my house.
So that yes
No,
or
that is
no?
not a,
I know that's not normal,
So,
but, so I'm not gonna vote no. And I can't abstain, so I'll have to vote yes.
okay, yes, it is.
Palazzo,
And to reiterate, this is a 4-year
It is a-
contract, yes.
That's actually a good question, I forgot that part.
4
So,
years.
yeah, 4-year contract. So she said yes.
DeBowser,
Yes.
Brick, Lancaster.
Yes,
Noel,
Yes.
Sarniso,
Yes.
6 yes, 2 absent.
Motion carried.
We'll be in touch.
Yes, we will. I really appreciate it again. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming again.
Absolutely.
On the meeting.
You'll have the rest of the day.
The press wants to
All right, good.
I think it's just gonna take a lot of education, a lot of outreach.
Yeah.
well, that's why I mentioned,
Change.
Then when you used to, I mean, when they switch, I remember as a kid when you switched to the bag.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
I'd have to buy the
orange
special
bags.
bags.
Yeah,
And you could only get them at certain places and it was a pain.
it's gonna be,
But you paid for what you threw away.
That's very true, but I hated those bags because
Really
I'm a family, I came from a family of 8 and we went through them like ran through Richmond. Yes.
But that's also why I mentioned other
Should we
communities
move on to,
do that.
admin committee reports?
Yeah.
We had discussion already, folks.
Thank you.
I think people adjust.
All right, well, we don't have any action items.
We won't, certainly.
The, trying to find it there.
Page 6, you're in the PDF.
Page 6 I got. Well, one of the things we dealt with this contract that we just approved. Finances we looked at, they seem to be fine. And we looked at the recycling report. And the upshot of that is in your packet. So, unless there are any questions about the recycling, that's really all we have.
Okay, well, is there any questions for the administrative committee? No questions, okay. Well, in which case, thank you, Pete. Moving on to community development. Community development does have an action item. So we talked about this multiple times, and so the action item is a motion to approve the complete streets policy. This did come from the committee, so we do not need a second. Is there any further discussion on this?
Bags.
Okay, I don't think we're spending any money, so I think just the yea or nay will do. So all in favor of approving the complete streets policy, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
I was glad to see the dedication to Charles Mangus.
That was sweet.
Bear with me as I find the rest of the community. Oh, there it is. Okay, so obviously, the complete streets was a big part of what we talked about. Comp plan is chugging along, Zoop is chugging along. I mean, there's some good, there's not a whole lot in the, what am I trying to say, words? There's not a lot in the community development packet. But I think all of us were there, so there's not a whole lot to report. But if folks have questions, I'll do my best to answer. If I remember any better than the rest of you. Yeah, the complete streets was the big thing, which we already voted on, so. My understanding is comp plan was presented to planning commission, but not to steal your thunder later, I won't talk about it. And so, not else, too much else to report from community development. I can Okay, so. So on to public safety.
Okay, I have nothing to add, regarding the minutes. The action item has been taken off the table. I got a text message from the chief that the county rescinded their desire to have a Halloween concert, so we don't have to vote on it.
All right.
So they decided not to do it. And I just want to thank Chief with the police force and all. They've had their hands full the last few weeks. And I think they did a stellar job. I like the presence of the police in town and all. And I know I like the fact that you guys went through and checked on businesses and checked on people and everything came off seamlessly, so real pleased with that. I know your hands have been really, really full. So. I have nothing to add unless somebody has a question.
We don't have anything there. A question for chief, but that's.
Yeah, he's gonna be talking later.
So so no other questions for public safety? No? Okay, moving on to public works.
All right, we've been repairing roads, there's been trees removed along Church Street. We are moving along with the 15th Street Stormwater Project. And the White Township Agreement is still in process, there's no meeting date on that yet.
No, no
Okay,
meeting
so-
date, but we did have a good meeting, Bill will
Staff
update-
meeting.
Yeah, staff meeting, Bill will update us at the next public works, okay.
Does anyone have any questions for Public Works? I'm gonna guess that a lot of these construction, like, is gonna be done next year, so. Of the roads,
Of the,
yeah, to continue to prepare for complaints. Paul was
doing Yeah.
hearings
on
Friday.
So what's
Yeah.
what's the penalty if they don't make their 1 year timeline for the ordinance? Well,
That's-
they'll pay within a year, right?
Of their
Of
they
their
have
contract.
of their contract, their
Okay.
contract could be through most of them are through next year. So they will do a patch. Then they'll come back when they're all done with the whole thing and pay one contractor to pay the whole
So
thing.
every single gas line, for example, is that all connected to all of the other gas lines?
So
I'm just saying it's probably under the same contract.
we're gonna ditch it.
So you
down
are
the
going
streets
to have
for-
gravel,
Over a year.
sidewalks,
Ten-
you're
nine-
probably looking, I feel like October of 2025 is where. Just based on my experience.
we can try getting with the guy and pushing that process on. a
Well,
little.
they've been done with the 1000 block of Church Street. They redid all the sidewalks.
But they're-
and
I know,
Hire
but the
one person to
contractors,
come back.
yeah, the contractors do the
Yeah.
work and then they move on, that's
Yeah.
the,
Then the asphalt people come in when the
Yeah.
whole thing is done.
And they do it all at
And-
once.
How do we
Like
fund
that-
that? Tell me how.
You get elected to the state house.
Right. Or to the Public Utilities
This is the most
Commission.
direct way to do it.
join the public utility, I think they're looking for people.
Yeah.
God, it makes me so
Yeah.
angry.
It's, we're
Yeah.
kind of at the mercy of gravel and probably dip roads for the rest of this
They're
year.
doing it to improve your life.
Yeah, your children, think of all those.
Hey,
high-
Yeah, somehow.
They don't care about your shocks and your struts.
No,
But they do, yeah.
Oh,
It's positive improvement for everyone.
It
It's
just-
just temporarily annoying. Sometimes you gotta stand behind a garbage truck and sometimes you gotta avoid potholes. for truck.
When you put it like that.
Yeah,
Sometimes you
We're
gotta
getting
play
a lot of these
theater.
sidewalks.
Well, yeah, they're paying for half of the Church Street project for crying out loud, so. I don't remember when
That's
that
all
happened.
Public Works.
Did that happen before or after the Public Works meeting?
Why?
After,
Yes.
The sidewalks getting ripped out was delayed by the Trump rally. And the next day, the gas company showed up and ripped out half the sidewalk. That we were about to have a contractor come in and rip out.
we're
See?
gonna pay.
It's fortuitous.
What did we say? Trump saved us 50 grand.
I got my field rolled.
So anyway,
Oh, yeah.
all right.
Put it overtime.
Any other questions for Public Works? And back to the top of the page. All right, on to commission reports. Peter, planning commission.
Trajan's report is in here, other than the fact that he needs to have somebody proofread it for him, because it's every little line has a grammatical mistake or.
If you're volunteering, you probably let you help.
Yeah.
I used to do that for the whole thing back when I was in your league, because I have free time, you don't, I know. That's pretty true. But other than that, it's pretty much all in there. The schedule for the consideration of the comp plan is in here. The detailed description of the reaction to the report of the consultant on the zoning is in here, and you can see, except where it's hard to read, the reaction of the planning commission.
Are they gonna do that for us too? Is that part of the process? I know Trajan's not here, but then Nicole, do you know?
Wait, what's the question?
So the planning commission, they have a very well
Yes.
put together. Right, here's
Yes,
the
they're-
problem, here's what they said, here's what, so is
They're
that
gonna
gonna
present
come?
it to the planning commission, then they're gonna present it to council.
Okay, so we'll
Yeah.
have a similar,
Yep.
'cause I thought that's very easy to understand. It's not usually this clear.
And the other thing is the harm is moving along.
Good.
The historic area, and the historic architecture review board. They've got an intern working with them now, completing the survey.
All right, anything else from planning?
That's all.
Any questions for the planning commission? Okay, moving on to shade tree. Well, I went to the shade tree meeting and Tammy was not able to attend, so I will give a report for this one. The big news is Bob Christian indicated that he will very soon be resigning. He doesn't have a specific timeline. He says there's some loose ends he wants to tie up before he parts ways with the borough. But, you know, the end is near, so to speak. He said there's no, he doesn't have cancer, he's not sick, nothing like that. He just is a gentleman who is a lot of wisdom and seasoned, he's very seasoned and, decides he wants to, move on to do some other things. And which I think the gentleman who's worked as long as he has, he gets that right. And so, again, no specific timeline, but that's the big thing, that's the process for Shade Tree to basically figure out who they would wanna have take that over. Yeah, and they talked about a lot of trees, there was, what's up?
Sorry, it could be Bob Pollock. Yeah, it was the other Bob. The other Bob. Anyhow, keep going.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't decide on anything by the end of that meeting. On anything by the end of that meeting. Anyway, I asked them during that meeting if they're allergic to decision making, but, anyway, so some of the other things, the major thing that happened is we did were you gonna update about the ARP? No,
No,
we
I
already
mean, I
forgot
can,
about it.
no, you can.
So what we did, they were having a hard time figuring out how to spend their $40,000.
Or crunch it to 40, like try, like hurry up, let's spend this 40 on these
Right.
trees.
And so they were basically gonna overspend to do expensive projects. And the projects are good projects, but for example, if the borough were to come in along Philadelphia Street, they could plant a tree for a lot less than a contractor could. And the contractor could plant one on Church Street for a heck of a lot less than on Philly Street. And so they were going to spend the money on Philly Street because they needed to spend this money, it was gonna go away. So basically, Nicole just took their $40,000 away and gave them a different $40,000 and basically took the ARP money and put it in a position that could be spent very reasonably and
In a
replenished.
Slower amount.
And so now yes, the crunch is off.
$40,000 it was.
They don't, they're not time based.
No, Yeah.
but that money is.
Well, yeah, and when you talk about the cycle of planting trees
Yeah.
and trying to have the borough's staff be the ones to do it, there is a very real time constraint that suddenly,
Exactly.
right? I mean, they only had 6 months to do this, and it was only 2, 3 months ago. And so, anyway, So we thought that that was the best way to relieve the pressure from them.
Thank you.
Now they just have their $40,000 and they can proceed as Bob had already been proceeding.
Okay.
So,
Great.
and those are pretty much the major takeaways, so.
What are we doing with the ARP funds
We're sticking about 40 in the renovation.
in the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you mean basically pull 40 out of the renovation and put 40 back in the renovation, essentially.
Yeah, flavor money. All right, sounds good.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, so that is Shade Tree.
So you would have to appoint, so they need to at least give you a name.
Yeah.
Bob's not gonna do it by in January, we'll appoint somebody anyway, so.
Well, yeah, but I think it's nice to at least give them an opportunity to say, hey, let's say they did want, bump hall, for example. For them to give them an opportunity to talk about that and branch that around before just, well, you took too long, here's a person.
When I was there 2 years ago, he said, get ready, I'm retiring. So.
And that was 2 years ago, and apparently. So, yeah.
Long get ready process.
Yeah, okay, so any other questions or comments for Shade Tree? Okay, moving on, the borough manager.
Well, thanks everybody for the great weekend. I mean, I didn't participate in the night activities, but I was there during the parade and, it was a beautiful day and. I'm sure Chief's gonna get into a lot more, but thanks to all the police people and citizens and fire, they were all out. It was a good day. I do wanna point out limb, pickup will start the week of the 21st. So the press over there, limb pickup will start the week of the 21st after your trash day. The budget process is starting. I just want to warn you guys, in November, we'll probably, if we don't get it done, if I don't get the resolution ready to go for October for the LSA grant, we will have a work session thrown in there in November, because there's some
We need
resolutions.
one anyway,
Huh?
that's the, whatever for Trajan Day. Hang on,
Oh, to.
where's the map, where's the calendar, I mean,
Pass.
something's happening that day.
Okay, well,
So,
we might have one.
Public hearings that day.
If I have the resolution ready for the LSA, again, it will take 5 minutes. We're gonna start applying for this local sharing account. Grant that's due at the end of November, and the first step is to pass a resolution. So I might have that, in the October. And then the budget, just looking ahead, I started sitting down with I had 3 department meetings today. 3 department meetings today, and, we started with, some capital expenses and, what we'd like to see in the budget, so that's, we'll probably have a good admin. I'll probably just dedicate admin to review a lot of these budget figures. So, that's my goal, is just admin. We'll go over the ones that I have, and I'm hoping to get with the chief. I'm sure he has his ready to go soon. So that's,
I got a question for you. You mentioned after your recycling meeting that they had an extra truck. That may be able to come pick up, they don't run on Fridays, that's
they
what it
don't
was.
run on Fridays, yes.
So they might be able to come to the bars
And pick up, yes, so
and
we,
get the recycling.
yes.
So
I mean-
where do we stand on that?
That I have another meeting with them Thursday, that I meet
Okay.
with them Thursday, so we can,
How frequently would that be?
Every Friday,
Where would they hold all their?
I would imagine in their facilities that they own.
yeah, I mean, that would. I mean,
They don't have any.
maybe
other
there's a
for it.
reason or rhyme or reason that it wasn't done in the past, I don't know, that's what we're trying
It's
to
awful
do a little bit of
lot.
research
just-
on why.
They don't have a large capacity bin, so we would probably need to work to,
Which is,
there'd be a couple steps, to this, but.
yeah, but the
Yeah.
fact that they're
If we can get them
available to do it,
Yeah.
they have a vehicle to do it, okay. Let's figure out the mechanism,
Even if
because-
we can't get all the bars doing it. we
Yeah.
can
It is definitely good.
Target a number of them and.
but getting one bar is how many cans in a
Oh, yeah,
I know.
exactly.
It is definitely newsworthy for sure that
Yeah,
it's.
well, it helps the
being
borough
implemented.
numbers.
So, I should be able to report back something at the
Good.
next admin meeting, because we meet Thursday, so.
Yeah,
I'll really-
like Casey said,
I'll
we
bring
gotta
the
figure
point
out how
up
to
that
help
we're
with banks or
really,
something
we
like
really
that.
wanna push that issue, and you know, they're the ones that said, well, they were thinking maybe a Friday, cause their trucks don't go out on
I mean,
Friday.
we could work with DI and get them like just a little flyer of how to do it. And
Yeah.
Get,
Yeah, I don't think our bins are gonna work for them, but.
No, they're
you know,
not.
They're gonna need like the waste management garbage can.
Yeah,
yeah,
Hey, I got two extra
Peter's
black
not
ones,
gonna
I'm not
use
gonna
his.
need for my
I
phone.
mean, I'm not kidding, and I'm not
Yeah.
kidding. I mean, that's what, I know Coney, now I haven't worked there in 30 years, but that's what
Yeah.
it used to be. We'd fill up the big garbage.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, the big.
And honestly, if it's something the borough needs to purchase on their behalf, it's
yeah,
worth it in the end to get.
Let's say the
those
long,
larger bins.
long play here, that's
Yeah.
a lot of weight
Yeah.
off the material.
Yeah,
and they would like to see it too, you know.
Yeah.
The.
I think once it gets started, it'll continue, you
Yeah,
know?
they'll get into a routine.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll build off the first, hopefully get more buy-in from restaurants and what
And
have
if
you.
if they pay a certain amount for the amount of garbage they're throwing away, then that could reduce their costs. if
yeah,
they're, like,
cause I'm not sure
over it,
how many
you
of them
know?
have.
I don't know how they.
Right, but most of them have
Like if they
dumpsters,
have
but.
dumpsters,
could
if
cut
they're
back.
overfilled.
Well, yeah, but if you cut back all of the recyclables out of the dumpster, maybe they can reduce the size of their dumpster, reduce the frequency of pickup.
Yeah.
And the
Where's
opportunity
the
is
waste
there,
management
we
guy?
just
Get
need to
back
come
over.
up with a solution, and I think this group down at the recycling, they're willing to. come
Because
up
they
with-
probably want more materials.
They do, and that's,
I think the soda and the beer manufacturers should be.
so, yeah, I can update you guys after,
They're not the ones
next
doing
week.
it.
Brad Admin.
They're producing it.
yeah, I'll stay student.
Line the man. Okay, any other questions for the manager? Okay. Chief, you would like to
Good evening.
take away?
So, I'd like to start my report with something that's been very well reported, from our friends at Renda and the Indiana Gazette, but, 15 days ago, the 45th president of the United States, campaigning to be the 47th president of the United States, visited Indiana, Pennsylvania. And the Pennsylvania State Police, specifically Lieutenant Chris Tarana, and the IUP Police Chief, specifically Tim Stringer, were the lead law enforcement agencies, for that detail. And I'd like to just say publicly that both did an admirable job on behalf of our community. From my perspective, it remained a positive and peaceful day in all areas of town. We as a borough, this was parking, public works, code and administration, briefed throughout the day. I'm confident that we worked in one direction for our residents. And I'm very satisfied with our level of preparation and teamwork. Your support of us and confidence in us was felt, and it was truly appreciated. On that same note, we received a thank you from Indiana County Emergency Management Director, Tom Stutzman. We were not the only agency to receive a thank you, but we were one of the agencies to receive a thank you. And just very briefly, Director Stutzman said the cooperation by all of our local agencies is a demonstration of how our response to community emergencies in Indiana County can unify when needed. And please share my thanks with your agency and personnel. On the heels of that, and to recognize the officers from Indiana Borough who were assigned to that detail, I did issue chief's letters of commendation, and I'd just like to very briefly read you that commendation or part of that commendation, and it would be in council packet for public safety. Your mission on September 23rd was to support the United States Secret Service, Pennsylvania State Police, and IEP Police Department with general and specific safety objectives on IEP campus and White Township, while simultaneously and primarily serving residents, visitors, and businesses within Indiana Borough. In a day filled with both community anticipation and apprehension, you performed admirably. You are credited with individual efforts and teamwork that prepared our community for expectations of the day, safely and successfully supported law enforcement and all other first responding partners with a variety of actions, assured for safe traffic flow and pedestrian traffic through town, protected thousands of citizens gathered in an outdoor environment for hours, supported the safe entry and exit of a presidential motorcade, maintained the peace, safety, and comfort of residents throughout the day. And therefore, on the 27th day of September, I presented that letter of commendation to officers assigned to the detail. 4 days ago, Indiana University of Pennsylvania had a homecoming. And I'd like to give you a brief recap of that. From my perspective, homecoming remained a positive and safe weekend throughout town. We were active, but events were manageable. In front of everyone at the table and our press partners is a chief's memo that I issued to Mayor Simmons today. And again, just to recap, our focus was assuring community peace, safety, and comfort. And we did that by advanced communications with our law enforcement partners, our community stakeholders, and our student population. While we maintained high visibility throughout the weekend, trying to maximize our proactive contacts to increase safety. Our staffing levels were increased to make sure that we were able to respond to all emergent situations. We maintained an increased presence in all areas of greatest need. And we continued responding to non-emergent calls for service swiftly and appropriately. New to this year's effort was the addition of Indiana High School's homecoming. We don't generally have both of those on the same weekend. The challenge there was to provide the same level of protection, peace, safety, and comfort to our high school students in the fact that they had a dance on Saturday night and a football game on Friday night. So they weren't competing with each other, but it did bring an influx of visitors to Indiana. Over the weekend, and this was from Friday at 7 a.m. to Sunday at 7 p.m., which we considered our operational activity time. The police department handled 152 calls for service and resulting in 8 criminal charges being filed. In comparison, in 2023, we handled 150 calls for service, which resulted in 7 charges being filed. We handled, in addition to the criminal investigations that resulted in arrest, we handled incidents of domestic violence, drug overdose and drug charges, an incident of criminal mischief, motor vehicle accidents, medical emergencies, thefts, and 34 violations of the vehicle code, which would have been traffic stops. 18 officers were assigned to the homecoming parade. The homecoming parade was well attended and but with an energetic crowd. And so the following is my after action review of Indiana Borough's response to weekend activity. In planning for every special event, we recognize the ever-present danger that exists and work tirelessly to proactively prevent harm and protect everyone, everywhere, always. As your chief of police, I continue taking pride in the police department's effort to promote and maintain peace, safety, and comfort in advance of, during IUP's homecoming weekend. An incredible amount of preparation, planning, and partnership is required to execute community safety objectives when we experience such large influxes of visitors and celebratory activity. My sincerest thanks are relayed to Lieutenant Slavinsky, along with Sergeants Atherton, Stifler, Rayco, and Hogue, who implemented and executed our weekend operational plan. And I commend the men and women of IBPD and our partners for their professional efforts throughout the weekend. Additionally, I want to personally thank Mayor Simmons, Manager Cephas, and members of our Public Works, Parking, and Code departments for their significant roles this weekend. As we faced an active weekend with all partners, Indiana Summit Church again demonstrated love and concern for all first responders with prepared warm meals and fellowship opportunities. Their outreach enhanced everyone's morale and served as a reminder of our community's support. Our mission is to enhance the quality of life of our citizens with a focus on peace, safety, and comfort while demonstrating honor, integrity, and respect. I trust you will find that our actions were in line with this mission as we navigated an active weekend. Overall, a safe and peaceful atmosphere was experienced by all in large part due to the respect, cooperation, and support of our students, visitors, and residents. As I have said many times, I remain honored and humbled to lead your police department and to serve with the men and women of your IBPD. That is the homecoming operational recap. Not special event related. Sergeant Mike Rayco received a thank you note from the mother of an IUP student who had lost her wallet. Officer Rayco went to great lengths to get this wallet returned, and it was appreciated by that student's parent. And all members of the police department received a thank you note from the Alakiski National Thank a Police Officer team, which are some very nice men and women, and I believe children, who
Given the construction.
given the construction paper and the crayons, but I'm not judging. I could have done that, probably not as good, but so we appreciate that very much. Back to special events. On October 19th, we have the Love of Life 5K is going to come through. That's a Saturday morning, starts at 9 a.m. And then the largest event that we'll have, if you can believe that, if the others weren't large enough, our Wonderful Life Parade and Festival will take place on November 22nd. Other than that, if you can tell by, my face today, we've relaxed our grooming policy with the police department, a little early. And, we are working to, we're working towards two specific community donations, for the privilege of growing facial hair and a police uniform for the months of October and November. So, we're hoping to make a nice donation to United Way and to IRMC's Birdie's Closet. So we'll see. The stress of my days will probably reflect itself in the beard that I grow.
Or the greatest of.
Right.
That's
Called wisdom whisker.
I think that's chrome, it's not gray, it's chrome.
Bear with us all as we try to fill in some facial hair.
Yeah.
And that is my report.
See if I have a, no, you go ahead.
I just.
I talk too much. You go.
It's not related, I'll talk about homecoming parade another time, but we have trick or treating on the 31st.
Oh, that's mayor's
I don't know, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor, sorry, then I'll go back downtown Indiana, do they have a trick or treating?
We're too early. It's not the. mayor's
Downtown
report.
Indiana has a downtown trick.
Yes,
I haven't been,
twenty-six.
So they haven't,
trick or treating anymore is not a special event because they do it on the sidewalk generally during the day. So there is no
I didn't
parade.
realize that.
Downtown Indiana usually has businesses and the kids
They
can
do,
go
yeah,
around.
Yeah.
he's not here
Because
today.
I know our
10
businesses.
to
He's really here.
He's
10 a.m. to
Yeah.
noon, it's on Facebook.
Yep.
Gets a lot of kids in town.
That's a lot of kids, thank you, sorry, Mayor.
Oh, no, thank you for reminding me.
Chief, I got just a clarity question. So just reading through the, and I do appreciate the non-IEP student versus IEP student on here, if I'm looking at this correctly. Of the arrests, it's only one IEP student, right?
Yes.
In case anyone needs to report this, there's only one IEP student that was arrested by Indiana Borough Police Department during homecoming. Feel like that should be noted.
Were the other ones visiting IUP students?
Doesn't matter, they weren't IEP students. Stop yelling at IEP about it.
Yeah.
Well, I think the most significant statistic on that sheet wasn't even reported, and that's the fact that there were no fights, no disorderly gatherings, and no noise violations recorded. So I would say that the most compelling statistic probably isn't even there, but it speaks the loudest as to how our weekend went. And that's why I say it's in large part to the respect and cooperation and support of our students, their visitors and guests. There's a lot of things that we can do in advance of an event to increase the opportunity for community safety. And I feel pretty good that we achieved that over homecoming with our partners.
All the press wants to talk about is that
That poor tree.
stolen gun.
That poor tree.
That's
Right,
what
the tree.
that tree.
Tree that broke, yeah.
That's the casualty. of the-
Cause I have the state police's pulled up also, and if I'm reading this properly, between the two, there was two DUIs, and I don't know how that stacks up compared to past, but on a rowdy rambunctious weekend, to my late eyes, it says people were being fairly responsible.
It speaks to a high level of responsibility, for sure.
And I can tell you, the street where I live in gets a lot of student foot traffic. It was quiet. And in my neighborhood, which is not far from the university, it was quiet. I've been where I live in prior years, you could hear the parties and all, it was quiet.
Well, I think that, I also think it's worthy to note that the positive atmosphere that we had this weekend is probably 15 years in the making. And so it's everyone's, it's refining what we did last year. It's being more engaging than we were in years past. It's the students. It's a lot of things.
It's
But
changing the route of the.
The least of things is specific to this year. The success for this year was set up by years past. The success of years forward ahead will be set up by what we do today and tomorrow. And so it's all very connected, and everyone should take positive responsibility of that. Certainly, we see enough negative publicity about certain things that are occurring locally, regionally, and nationally, but this was a positive weekend, I think, from all accounts. I think if you weren't campus adjacent, you probably had a very nice weekend that was completely unaffected.
It really did.
I would also,
Anything.
I'd also like to point out that I like the fact that this year and prior years, the chief has made a point to not only talk to the businesses, but you also send out letters towards the students and all. And that helps dovetail with what you guys do at the university.
And what the realtors do.
Yeah. Everybody working together.
Yeah, I'll
Really.
All right, anything else for the chief? All right, moving on, Mr. Solicitor.
Hi, good evening. We are making progress in our negotiations. We, with the utilities union. I'm proud to report that. I have a few things in executive session, but otherwise everything's moving along.
I did not bring a business card, but there was a fellow knocking on my door trying to sell electric.
Okay.
Sales, what was he? I took the car, I had just woke up, he woke me up, so I
Was he a
don't
lawyer?
remember. He was,
I was wondering if he was a lawyer.
no, he was a salesperson, and he seemed to think that he was gonna make everybody's electric cheaper and gas.
Is that a question for the solicitor?
Right, I think it
I'll have to
was,
get the business card for you.
yeah, let me,
Oh, you're trying to save him money. That is a question for the solicitor.
I'm getting it, I'm getting it.
I feel like you buried the lead on that.
No, I just wanted to advertise that with his negotiations and with everything, this skyrocketing electric that's coming up.
It's different negotiations, I think. We're talking about union negotiations. Although there is the
oh,
gas.
I said
contract.
utility, it's
You said
utility
utility.
union.
Right.
Yeah, oh, there we
Utility
go.
worker.
Okay.
I'm
I'm
only
caught-
Name of the union.
Now I know how you got it to where you got.
I apologize.
Okay, all right.
That's
I
just
was
the-
not clear.
Yeah, I was just listening and responding. like
Well, there
that.
are those negotiations, or at least contracts,
Those-
so that's
yes.
not what he meant though.
But that, I wanted to let you know that there's a salesman going
Yeah,
around for a
yes.
company trying to
Yeah.
sell, not represent the community.
Anyway.
Utilities.
Gotcha,
Any,
that's all I have.
we got it, all right. IP representative in the house.
So, in positive IP news, we have seen an increase in our retention rates of new first-time students for fall. More than a 4 percentage point increase. We've had record-breaking increases in dual enrollment as well as in our career preparation programs. Our fall freeze numbers are in at 9,081 students, which is a 1.9% decline from our fall 23 enrollment. If any of you are aware of what had happened this year with FAFSA and the federal government overhauling that system, it affected higher education across the board. And we're expecting to see that happen again in the coming year because all of the issues are not quite fixed yet. So, all in all, knowing what a debacle that was, I'd say that we fared pretty well this fall. IP was selected for US News and World Report 2025 Best College Rankings. We earned a silver seal from All In-Campus Democracy Challenge. That's a national nonpartisan organization that kind of tracks voting on campus, people that are registered to vote. And we just recently had another clinical signing with IRMC. So good traction happening with the College of Osteopathic Medicine initiative. And of course, two very successful busy weekends, family weekend, which was also Athletics Hall of Fame, end of September, and then homecoming weekend. And would like to thank the chief and everyone here at the table for helping us to make that a wonderful day and peaceful weekend. And we had Luke joined us for the game in the president's box. It was a beautiful day, but very sad that we lost. That's all I have.
You didn't even say hi.
I didn't know.
Oh, you were, yeah.
I could have knocked on the door. We did, with signals. Mine was right in front of me.
Do we have any questions for the IUP representative? Oh, we do, sorry, you're actually asking one.
Does IUP have adult classes?
They're all adult classes.
They're all adult classes, but we do have some.
I mean, like,
Any other community based.
additional community-based, like she said, not like official students that are attending, but do they have additional? Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, Tammy, you gotta walk that one. Oh, they're not a high school.
It's all true. Everything is true.
17 when I started going.
You were 17.
Me too.
That's because I was.
No, you were 17 is what you did.
That's all I meant.
Okay, let's get back what you.
Yes, yes. Any other questions? No, okay, moving on to me. All right, well, the major thing that I wanted to touch on, other than thank you all the first responders again, but I won't beat that particular horse. They did an excellent job. They made it look easy and it's not.
Yeah,
Okay, but what I did want to comment is I thought that, I don't care how you feel about Trump, the fact that a person campaigning for president decided to grace Indiana, PA with their presence. And I thought the community handled it very well.
great.
Unless I'm mistaken, I don't believe there was any charges based on that. And I did hear that there were some folks not happy he was here. And it sounds like they were being peaceful about their protests. And the people that wanted to support him were
Peaceful.
legal and peaceful about what they were supporting. And I think that that is a commendable to our community. We can disagree the right way when folks, I think that's, you know, it represents us well. And hopefully we'll get more folks that may be running for president, if they're listening, come on down and visit, right?
First time since JFK.
Yeah, since 1960, said.
And so if we can get more folks that think we're important enough to visit, that's a little pat on the back for us, I would say, come on now, right? And so, and I thought the community handled it well, and that was my big takeaway. I love the fact that we were able to have a rather divisive individual come to town and no one got arrested, no one got shot at, no one, like it was. And again, the local law enforcement and the state police and the Secret Service, you know, did their job, but I'm grateful that it went off. You know, well, and so that's really all I have is, and for my thing, so
I think-
go
I
ahead.
think the
Sorry.
Jumbotron was really a great hit too. Was that IUP supplying that? Who supplied the
No, all of
Jumbotron?
that was provided by Dr. Lee.
Campaigners.
I wish IUP had one so we could like, the games and the concerts and everything else. That was really.
Well, if they're looking for a donation,
Well, there was a suggestion.
I'm sure the new, goodness gracious, which Jennifer is she, the new vice president? She's Jennifer, the new vice president. Apparently there's 3 Jens, so she's Jennifer. I'm sure she would take a donation, because apparently that's her wheelhouse. So if you want to donate a giant jumbotron for the park, they'll probably say yes. But anyway, any questions for me? No. Okay, moving on to the mayor.
Well, you mentioned first responders, just to let you know that the fire department will be sending out their fund drive letters this week coming up as it is Fire Prevention Week. And just to let you know, we're taking delivery on a new pumper. We replaced the first line pumpers every 15 years. 15 years ago, we bought one and it was $400,000. The one we're buying now is $1 million.
Wow.
So just tell you what happens in 15 years. Isn't that amazing? $1 million for a truck. So at any rate, we'll be working toward that. But again, our fund drive starts next week. Citizens ambulance, as you know, we're working with the authority to try to get future funding. It appears that authority probably won't be able to bring in contributions until 2026. So we really need to get through 2025. And the best way to do that is for all of us to join in as members. And those member letters will be going out in November. To become a member of Citizens is $75 a year. For someone 65 and older, it's $65 a year. So it's cost effective. You get a little break if you happen to utilize the service. Because of the fact that you're a member, there is a little cut in how much you have to pay on your end. So that's something to consider too. So very important for both ends of the first responders there. And I guess 10/31, Thursday, the 31st of November will be Halloween.
Well, it's always Halloween, is it trick or treating?
I get so excited.
It's November, but you did say 10/30, but I heard
You did say
November too.
10/31 November. Yeah, that wasn't right.
That's trick or treating.
But I'm so glad, you know, and I want to tell you something about Peter Broad. Whenever Peter and I were on Borough Council together and I was doing any kind of report, he was always grammatically fixing it. And he just couldn't get that out of his system. So I know when he said that earlier, that's what he does.
So to be technical, it's always Halloween. Is it trick or treating?
Yeah.
And then
Yes,
in
from
time,
You said it's Halloween,
From
that's
6
not
to 8.
newsworthy, so it's trick or treat.
6 to 8 time.
But it's, oh, I see what you're saying.
It's
Yeah,
the
trick or
creed.
treat night. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Fire department will be out going through the neighborhoods. We'll be handing out glow sticks and they get
Oh, that
those
was
around their
cool.
necks and that's always nice.
And this.
That was going to fire driver, the big fire truck, that was neat.
Wait,
Like
we're
it.
off on Friday?
The first, yeah.
Mayor,
Yes,
6 to 8 on Halloween night, so.
yes, yeah, yeah. Any questions about all of that?
It's just good stuff.
Just hang tight. We're, it takes, support from everybody to keep these things going. And that's what we'll do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Okay. Okay, any old business? No old business, all right. We already took care of the new business on the agenda. Is there any other new business? Okay, any upcoming events, positive community impacts? I feel like we've beaten this one pretty good today.
Youth League Championship is Thursday, like football, you guys wanna watch the girls battle it out.
Okay, when and where?
I-
Come on now.
Games are at 6 at Mac Park. The Cherry Blasters just clinched a spot in the championship.
Who's the coach of that sport?
I'm the coach of that.
And if you guys aren't aware, PIAA, the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association, has recognized women's flag football as an official competitive sport in high school, so
Starting next year.
starting next year, so they're gonna have good players for the team, local team.
Yeah, it's junior high, championship and elementary.
So it's gonna be a big thing.
Yeah.
There you go. When there's a professional league, when your team is older, tell them to remember where they started. right?
Yeah,
Hey, they're
we got the best fifth
They're
graders.
talking about making it an Olympic sport too.
Yeah.
It is,
When it's in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So, Like football.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Start fundraising now.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about a lot of different upcoming events, Halloween, level like 5K, late of night. So is there any of the, I'm not gonna call it obscure, but maybe harder to hear about? I'll take one from the crowd. What's happening?
There's a healing and prayer service being offered at Freedom Church on November 1st, and this is something new in this area that I know of. But it's healing and prayer, anyone's invited.
Okay, very
Different
cool.
pastors.
What time on the first?
6 to 8,
Okay,
6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
on the first. All right, thank you. Any other event? Peter, sound like you had an event? No? Just breathing? All right. What's wrong with breathing? Breathing's good. I'm losing my mind. Okay. Yeah, again, we've talked about a lot of different events, so.
Yeah.
And a lot of positive, a lot of first responders doing a lot of amazing things recently, so. So in which case then we can move into. I guess we have to adjourn into the executive session.
Yeah, and we're not taking a vote afterwards, so.
Yeah, so at 8:02, we're adjourning into the executive session. We need a motion.
Enjoy your evening.
Do we? I don't remember.
Motion to adjourn.
Peter makes the motion, all right.
Whatever.